Welcome to the VC3 News Update. I am Shanette Hackshaw with the top local news stories. The Internet Society of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is part of a global initiative. This is according to Willis Williams, coordinator of Internet Governance Forum, representing the Internet Society of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Speaking on Round the Table Talk last evening, he noted that the objective of the Internet Society of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is to bring free internet connection to all Vincentians. He also noted that there are several projects being carried out in order to bring internet connection to Vincentians.
This initiative was born in 2017, actually, the IGF. And it is something that is facilitated by ISOC. Let me tell you a little bit about ISOC. ISOC is really Internet Society, ISOC, SVG chapter. ISOC is global. We have chapters around the Caribbean, around the world. In Latin America is referred to as LAC. And they are in all the other regions of the world. And I think the aim of ISOC is really to bring equal opportunity, internet opportunity, to everyone around the world. In St. Vincent, the objective is to have everyone have access to internet, free access to internet. That is of good quality, good speed, and that is safe and free. And of course we have not achieved that, but that is what we are working towards that. We do different projects from time to time throughout the operational year that will get us to that endpoint.
As of yesterday, Wednesday, August 9, the local portion of the regional ICT event began here by the Internet Society of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Williams also explained what will be happening over the 3 days of the ICT event.
This week, the Internet Society of St. Vincent chapter is hosting IGF. IGF is the Internet Governance Forum. And this is basically an opportunity for people of different ilk to come together and discuss their internet concerns. Learn a little more about the internet, learn what the internet has to offer, give ideas of what they want from the internet, and so on. And what we do, that we have started, this exercise we have started since 2017.
Albert Daniels, the Senior Manager of Stakeholder Engagement for the Caribbean within the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, was also a guest on the program. He gave some insight into what the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers is about.
Well, let's start with the acronym first. ICANN, I-C-A-N-N, 2 names, 2 N's, 1 for names and 1 for numbers. ICANN is a global not-for-profit corporation which works along with global partners to ensure a single, stable, open and interoperable internet. And it's interesting because the internet itself is a collaborative project. There is no single organization that runs or owns the internet. So by definition, collaboration is at the basis of everything that happens on the internet. So in order for the internet to work, ICANN manages these numbers which identify every single mobile phone and every single device that's connected to the internet. And that's one of the N's in our name, ICANN. But ICANN also manages the domain names, the top-level domain names, .com, .org, .vc, and all of the others. And we do this management based on policies that are actually developed by you, the multi-stakeholder community. Who is the multi-stakeholder community? Representatives of business, representatives of government, end users, civil society. All of these various groups represent the community, the ICANN multi-stakeholder community, which the ICANN organization mobilizes and facilitates in terms of policy discussions, which eventually result in actual policies that determine the type of internet that we get every day for work and for social interaction and so on. So from time to time, what we've discovered in our engagement is that the full story is not always known by stakeholders. So we have to do some sort of outreach to explain to them what ICANN is, what the multi-stakeholder model is, and most importantly, how they can participate in decision making.
Daniels also said that one of the main issues with the use of the internet and the policies that surround internet use is that there is not enough participation from users of the internet.
Now here's the issue. The issue is that ICANN facilitates these meetings globally, and what we have invariably found is there is very low participation from not only St. Vincent but the entire Caribbean. And this is what brings us to the roadshow. So the purpose of this roadshow is to conduct outreach, explain why paying attention to what happens in the ICANN community is so important. And there are many issues. I just spoke about one, the domain names, but we have issues of security. We have issues of universal acceptance, which we will be discussing tomorrow. What is universal acceptance? In some of these new domain names, we have foreign language characters, Chinese characters, Arabic characters, and there are also email addresses in those new systems. And these email addresses are not always accepted by the local system.
Winston George, the project coordinator of the Caribbean Digital Transformation Program, was the third guest on the program. For utilization of the MRI machine at the Modern Medical Complex in Georgetown, the Cabinet of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has granted a 30% discount for citizens and a 20% discount for non-nationals. This announcement was made by the acting Prime Minister, Montgomery Daniel, yesterday morning. He said that the facility should be up and running very soon as a trial run was recently completed.
As you know, the MRI machine was established not too long ago in Georgetown at the Modern Medical Complex there in Georgetown. And so that facility is ready. It should be up and running very, very soon. As a matter of fact, there was a trial run done. The PS in the Ministry of Health itself was one of the persons who was involved in the trial runs. And so the facility is ready to be operated.
According to Daniel, the management of the facility had submitted a proposed payment plan to Cabinet for approval. He said that the management cross-referenced the cost of the same service from across the region.
The management of the facility would have submitted to Cabinet last week rates for approval in terms of the public wanting to have the use of that facility. By and large, of course, this is the first time we are having such a facility here in St. Vincent. And the management and staff would have accumulated figures from across the region where such facility is being operational. And so based on those numbers, the submission was made to Cabinet with their own tweaking on the numbers. And Cabinet has approved basically the numbers that were submitted. The numbers that were submitted, Cabinet would have approved 30% less to nationals for the use of the facility and 20% less for non-nationals.
The MRI machine was donated by the Barbados-based charity Maria Holder Memorial Trust. Still in our local news stories, in news from the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, the public's assistance is being sought by police in St. Vincent in their search for a 13-year-old who has been missing for the past 20 days. Princess Richards of Victoria Village has been missing since Friday, July 22, 2023, according to a missing persons poster from the police. Richards Jasgood wasn't known at the time of her disappearance, according to the police. And finally, in our local news stories, Jailyn Williams, a citizen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is currently enrolled in a graduate school in the U.S. thanks to the Fulbright LAS PAU scholarship, which is supported by the U.S. government. This is being announced by the U.S. Embassy in Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean, and the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. At Fordham University in New York, Jailyn, a legal officer within the Financial Intelligence Unit in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is working towards an LLM in law. The Fulbright program, which strives to foster better understanding between Americans and people from other countries, is the top international educational exchange program offered by the U.S. government. The Latin America Scholarship Program of American universities oversees the Fulbright program. Those are our local news stories. Continue watching on Channel 114 for regional and international news, to be followed by the VC3 Sports Update.